everyone, welcome to GT Time. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us, as always, is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Elise Willems.
Thanks. Brandon's at Judges Week, so I'm happy to be here.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
In our super seat this week, Andrea Renee.
Yay, I'm back.
And making this all happen, Ian Hank in the booth.
Good info drop, Elise. I like that.
Yeah, that was.
Thank you.
And honestly, it caught me off guard. It was like, oh, this is really good.
I'm also here for Judges Week, but I am sitting out the event that he's at right now. So
Because you're not interested in it.
because I'm not knowledgeable enough at it, and it doesn't make sense for me to go see them.
Now
That's
I'm trying
why.
to assemble the clues. I'm trying to put it together now.
Disney Infinity.
No, we went to that together and did interviews together. It was amazing.
Cool.
I can't tell you about it yet, though. Sorry.
But
We
I'll
do
just
know it's
tease it.
amazing, at least. Super seat this question. Our super seat question this week. I'm going to make you both answer it, actually.
Nailed it.
What is a project you did in high school that you're still proud of?
This was a pretty easy one for me. One of the one favorite thing that I did when I was in high school was start an improv club. So the Southside High School, I'm from Fargo, North Dakota. There were two major high schools, Fargo North and Fargo South. And Fargo South had their own improv club called Don Quixotes, like as a play on
Yeah.
Don Quixote.
Yeah.
And so we were super jealous on the North Side that they had an improv club because we thought ourselves funny folk
Yeah.
in the drama scene. And so I was like, I went to my good friend Travis Simon at the time. I said, let's co-found this. We can be co-presidents, and we have to think of a name. The brainstorm session to think of a name that could rival Don Quixote's was epic and extremely not PC. It was like a bad game of Cards Against Humanity. We settled on Julia's Seizures.
Oh my God.
It was bad, but that's what we called ourselves.
Most improv team names are very bad,
Yeah.
but no,
Yeah.
that is one worth being proud of still.
So, and on our
Yeah, that's
t-shirts, we
awesome.
had like the little like olive branch things on the side.
And someone just spasming.
We didn't do that. We were worried people would get mad.
I think the t-shirts
love
is
it.
what I'm hung up on. Any improv team with a t-shirt, I can't get on board with. So you all had to, like, you were a team? Like, with t-shirts?
Yeah, so we wore the t-shirts as like a camaraderie thing. Like every group in high school has a t-shirt, right? Like
I guess that's true. Yeah,
so
that's true.
we made t-shirts, and then we would play at like the local Barnes and Noble, and like have different gigs around town. And then we did organize this one really big like showdown where we're like, oh, it's Don Quixote's versus Julius
North
Caesar's.
versus South,
Who's
yeah.
going to win? And it was a really, really fun show.
Who won?
The audience did not pick a winner. We kind of call it a draw,
Yeah, but
You know how it
somebody
is when
won.
you're
So the Don
when you're a kid.
Quixotes
There's
won.
no winners or there's no losers.
Yeah, but one team got more laughs than the other.
Yeah, the other team might have.
Not when I was a kid.
I was kinda
I was
hoping-
always the loser.
I was hoping you weren't gonna make me admit that part.
I'm sorry, before we move on, one last question. What kind of improv do you do in Barnes & Noble?
Really quiet, improv,
quiet.
whisper prov.
What was it? What were you doing?
So they had this little section dedicated to like where most of the time it was like singer-songwriter, acoustic, like guitar, or like jazz sets or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're high school kids, right? So it was all very PC. And our mentor who oversaw the club was my drama teacher, Bill Lucas, who was one of my favorite teachers of all time. And so we were basically just doing like like Whose Line Is It Anyway style stuff that can be on primetime TV, games like that. Taking audience suggestions and stuff like that.
Was it all very highbrow because you're in a Barnes & Noble?
No,
okay.
It was not. It was just like lots of poop jokes.
Sorry, one last time. Julia's
Seizures.
That's so good. Elise, what are you proud of from high school?
Do you have time? No, I'm kidding. So I wrote like a 3-act play that I wrote for a creative writing class, and then we did a little performance of it just for our class. But it's one of the things that stands out to me as what I really enjoyed doing. It was kind of a murder mystery, a group of strangers gathered in a mansion together, and I don't remember much about it except there was a closeted gay tennis pro that at one point he was revealed because he fell out of a closet and dropped a bunch of tennis balls.
So wait, is it a comedy?
It was a comedy. It was a murder mystery comedy.
Oh
Yes.
man, I thought it was. When I hear a 3-act play, I was thinking it's serious this whole
No.
time.
But I wasn't making any kind of commentary or anything.
Right.
But
So wait, was it discovered that he was gay simply because he was physically in a closet?
No. It was just supposed to be part of the humor of it, but I guess it wasn't funny.
Whoa.
I mean, it probably was in context.
But he fell out and tennis rackets fell around him and everything. It was supposed to be
great.
A visual foil, but
Very John Ritter.
I'm not.
In
Yeah,
Noises Off.
that's exact. I love Noises Off.
Noises
I
Off
love
is so
Noises
good.
Off too.
And
It's
that
so
was
good.
one of the reasons I did that. But
Noises Off.
Do you still have the written script?
I might have it like on an old hard drive back home. But
Dude, let's do
We
it.
should
have
perform it. We should
Let's
absolutely perform
mount
it.
this
Oh my
thing.
gosh,
I'm not
yes.
kidding.
We'll go down to
And
Santa
not
Monica.
change any
We'll
of
get in
it.
a little black box theater in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Let's put it up.
I'm not, like, can we please?
It'd be so fun.
And don't change it at all.
Not a word.
Starring-
Don't update it.
starring the cast of Julius Seizures
Yeah.
from the mind of Elise Willems and the theater of Santa Monica.
Yeah.
But
Oh my God, for real though.
we
Let's do
should
this.
write a Noises Off style like murder mystery comedy play.
We have one. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we
it
already have it.
exists.
It's got the gay tennis guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Moving right along.
Moving right along, thank you so much. We're going to talk about a corrections, so please begin corrections music. We did really well last week. This is a record low corrections. Here's the best we got. One correction from Falling with Style Squirrel. I just really like that name. Minor correction. While you don't need a button for Pac-Man Championship Edition, there is a button for the bombs, but I'm sure Jones's mom is a pro, so she wouldn't have to worry about the bombs. And
No, the
corrections
bombs are
music.
clutch in that game. Like the bombs are essential at some points.
Yeah, but Brandon's mom is so good that she wouldn't even need them, so she'd be fine without it.
We only had one correction?
One correction. We do have some
That was
follow-ups,
because
though.
Don was on the... I didn't pipe in and
Yeah,
say
Don
wrong
was like,
things.
Don was interrupting us the whole time with like Wikipedia entries and things like
Yeah.
that.
Fixing the problems.
I do want to do some follow-ups though. Last week we didn't know what would be in the Nintendo World Championships. They did announce that this week. It is simply going to be Ultimate NES Remix, score challenges from Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 3, and Dr. Mario.
So you're collecting coins. I guess that's what those challenges are.
No, they're points. It's just based off your points.
Oh, I thought you had
basically.
to like collect like 50 coins in one and then
It might be that actually.
coins in another.
I never even selected that mode of Ultimate NES Remix, but it
Yeah.
is a mode that's already existed.
I might have to enter
coins
this
would
Dr.
add.
Mario challenge.
Are you good at Dr. Mario?
I'm really good at Dr. Mario.
Dr. Mario is hard.
It's not an easy game. Deceptively it looks easy, but it's not. Hours, like hundreds and hundreds of hours of my life.
I have a weird panic of Dr. Mario. I shouldn't. This is just a personal story. Why do I tell these things? So, my ex-girlfriend, when we first started dating, she was also super good at Dr. Mario, and it was something she used to play with her ex-boyfriend. And one time we were over at his house. He was having some stupid party.
Wait, you
and
went to her ex-boyfriend's
Whoa,
house?
Yeah, he was having a party.
This is already a bad idea.
I know.
Did you get jealous?
Yes, because he's so good at Dr. Mario too. It's just like I'm not good at that game.
Did they remember their love for each other through playing Dr. Mario again?
No. None of that. No, that part didn't happen. She assured me. She's like, no, you're very good at Dr. Mario.
Oh my God. It happens to a lot of guys.
There are pills for it.
Dr. Mario has them.
Oh, that game is so hard. A huge thing happened. We had a big scuttlebutt because Square Enix and Nintendo had the same time slot at E3 for their press conferences.
Somebody messed up.
Yeah, I guess it was Square Enix because
Of course it was.
Shortly after.
Nintendo doesn't make errors.
Well, they've been doing the same time slot for how many years now?
Right.
Years and years.
Like Nintendo has always had Tuesday morning. It's always been
Yep.
Nintendo's time.
I don't did Square not realize? I don't know what happened.
Apparently, they think their games are so great this year that they need to talk about them separately.
But then they got scared. Yeah, then they said, okay, we'll bump it back an hour. So now it's at 10 a.m.
Well, yeah, you're not going to go up against one of the 3 platform holders. I mean,
Yeah.
if you do, that's pretty dumb.
It-
I'm just calling that out.
It
Sorry,
was.
Square. Like, you have some good stuff you're showing this year, but I mean,
Brandon was so excited about it last week. He was ready for the showdown. He said he was going to watch Square Enix and ignore Nintendo, actually.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
that's
I can
a
watch that
mistake.
after.
No, Reggie Fils-Aimé is way too entertaining to miss.
Doug Hauser on the team now? Or Doug Bowser.
Doug Bowser.
Hauser.
Hauser's a whole other guy.
Yeah, Doug Bowser.
That was the thing. I didn't even want to talk about that this week. I'm so mad about the Doug Bowser story. You know what makes me mad about it? And actually, this turned out to not be true. To me, it seemed like Games Media. It seemed like Games Media couldn't wait to talk about the story, and like it would be a picture of Bowser for the headline, underneath the headline,
Well, of course.
instead of the actual man. Well, I don't know. Like, this is a man. This is a human being. But then my
Nintendo
brother-in-law
knew what they were doing.
He texted me a headline from Wall Street Journal. They did the exact same thing. A picture of Bowser and said Bowser is working at.
Everyone is going to. There's no reason not to do that. It's hilarious.
Do you think Doug Bowser questions like his personal merit and whether he got the job solely on his name?
Yeah, exactly. Did I earn this? Doug Bowser, I'm positive you were hired regardless of your name. You know, in spite of your name.
He's just gonna get all Bowser-themed gifts now from everybody he works
that
with.
Poor guy. That poor man.
What if Nintendo is like going on a new initiative where they're only going to hire people that have like themed names?
Mario.
So like the next person they're gonna find is a doctor named Mario.
They only find a guy named Mario.
Mario.
For some reason,
Luigi Mario.
I think it'll work out. I think they'll do fine.
Yeah,
if
they'll be great.
There are
They'll
actually
be
already
dedicated.
several Yoshis that work there. I've met
Oh,
them
sure.
at various
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo events.
Yeah,
That's true.
I'm sure they get it too. Those poor Yoshis. And also, since last week, Sony announced their press conference officially, which is 6 p.m. Pacific time on Monday night.
Are you going to do a GT time bet on whether it runs late?
I
and
think
what
it's
time it starts?
6:30, isn't it?
It might. Oh gosh. Well, there's a
always
correction for
late.
next
I
week.
think the doors probably open at 6 and then.
Okay, that
I
might
have
be
the
the
power
case.
of the internet. I'll look.
Cool. So Andrea will look that up for us. While
We will never have corrections again.
never again. I love to open the show with a game announcement. We all know that. This week's game announcement is a brand new game called Need for Speed.
Brand spanking new.
Brand spanking new. What has been announced this morning is that Need for Speed is a reboot of the Need for Speed series. You know what? I should read their press release because I really love all of this language. Need for Speed delivers deep customization, authentic urban car culture, a nocturnal open world, and immersive narrative to pull players deep into the game. The game will be available this fall for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. So it is it's current gen only, which is cool.
Yeah, I guess they're tired of rebooting their sub brands, and now they have to reboot the whole thing.
But this is underground, right?
Yeah,
like when you look at this,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
Need
It's
for
a
Speed
harkening
Underground.
back to Underground.
Right. So it's weird that the reboot takes place only at night. All of Need for Speed is a night game, a nocturnal open world. That's weird, right?
That's easier on their rendering engine, but
Wait, no, Blood, explain that to me. Is that true?
Well, yeah, if you don't have to worry about different
Sunlight,
times of day
yeah.
and sunlight and lighting, yeah. And the sun I mean, the funny thing about Undercover, which is probably one of the worst ones they ever did from the main branch, because there are actually worse spin-offs, but there were points in Undercover where, like, literally I saw the sun, like, track through the sky and move across the sky to be, like, back in your face again. Like, the sun didn't have any kind of fixed position.
Oh, you saw the sun moving,
Yeah.
like in Mario 3. I got you.
Yeah, and all the shadows moving across the ground, too. That's like, what is going on?
So I watched the trailer. It looks good to me. This is a good-looking game, right?
I mean, it's hard to tell. The trailer was only 30 seconds long, right? 34 seconds if you include
Right.
the bumpers. But, like, I think that I don't know. I really loved Rivals is what I want to start with. But, like,
Okay.
I don't know where they're going. And we were talking earlier that it's not Criterion making this game. So that makes me a little nervous, right?
Yeah. Well,
About-
Ghost made Rivals. So, but yeah, and it's a lot of people that were at Criterion.
So that's
They
good.
like split up Criterion. Is that how that worked?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
It's really weird. Ghost Games was like more or less founded to make Need for Speed games, and then whoever's left at Criterion is working on that crazy stunt thing.
Makes me uncomfortable. They're called Ghost Games, like they are the ghost of Criterion.
Right.
Seems like a little on the nose.
I do think when you make like nighttime levels where you're in a city and you're in like, you know, flashing neon lights over you, those are the coolest racing levels, in my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel about that. But
No, I definitely like on PlayStation 1. That's a great vibe. Like watching lights go across your card hood.
Yeah.
And you're right. That just sticks till today. The craziest thing about Drive Club was when Bloodworth would show us the snow at night.
Oh yeah.
So you're right. I guess like it's cool that the game plays. I guess it's so weird to me this game has no subtitle. I think that's what the weirdest thing is to me. It's clearly a type of Need for Speed, and it's crazy to me that like this is the reboot. Why do you think they rebooted Need for Speed?
I don't know. It's not like it needed a reboot because there's no like narrative arc through the games other than like racers and cops. And that's more of like a framework than an actual like lore system. So like that, do you think it has to? There's like a big overhaul to the gameplay, perhaps, and that's why they're rebooting.
Maybe. How do you overhaul the gameplay of Need for Speed?
Maybe make it more like The Crew, something like that.
Oh, don't.
No.
Right?
don't do
Like
that.
we should just tell them to not do that right now.
Mirror's Edge is doing the same thing.
Yeah,
It's
we were
just called
talking about
Mirror's
that
Edge.
earlier. It could just be that they're trying to give it a fresh new look for a
Coat
new
of
next
paint.
gen audience.
Okay,
and
you're
get
right.
Some,
We're on a new.
get some eyes on it, make it seem like it's not just another sequel, side game that we're looking at. That could just be it.
Yeah, because what I think is actually very interesting is that they're going back to a story.
Yeah.
I've never ever seen story work in a racing game. Can it work? Do we believe that a racing game could have a good story?
I hope that they contextualize the fact that the game only takes place at night by showing like all these drivers during the day just like, oh god, I've been driving all night, and then they just like sleep.
Or they're vampires.
Yeah, they're all vampires.
Need for Speed would be very cool if they're all
That would
vampires.
be amazing.
I think Need for Speed: The Run made it very clear that that type of narrative through thread is not something that fans of racing games are excited about.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, unless there is somebody out there who was super excited about The Run and it was their 100% favorite Need for Speed game. But I mean, for me as a longtime fan of this series in particular and of racing games, I want to just do tracks. Like, give me a track and then give me a time to beat and make it competitive. Even like the open world aspect of racing games, I'm not particularly a fan of. I know a lot of people wanted to rave about Paradise, and I was just like, that just was not my thing. Like, I just want more Burnout, really. Like,
We have a fight about this in the office frequently. I'm on Burnout side, but like others love Paradise and say like that's the best
Paradise
one.
is just
that
fun.
world.
It's
The other
kinda
games
fun.
are just fun.
Okay.
Burnout 3 is just fun.
They can both be fun. I know it's a personal preference,
Yeah.
but I just felt like I was constantly wasting time driving between races when all I wanted to do was race.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
like to me that's the problem with narrative in racing games too, is like all you want to do in a racing game is go fast, and all story ever does is slow it down. If they did like a story where you like find the story while racing, like over, I mean, I don't really like it when story is given to you over radios, but like they could do that sort of, or
Yeah. I mean, they did a lot of that in The Crew as well, but it wasn't particularly exciting.
Did not like that crew story.
They just need to get the radio guy from Far Cry 4 and then put him in the new Need for Speed, and it'll be...
That's the whole story.
good.
Just have that. That's fine. A really funny part about this trailer is how it ends. So I guess we should mention it's on a Frostbite engine.
Which isn't new. They've done that before.
With Need for Speed? Oh, okay. But I guess basically because of the Star Wars Battlefront trailer, that started by saying this is in-engine footage. This one ended with this. It says, all footage captured in-game, game engine footage representative of all platforms. Hey, is that fair?
It's sad that they have to put that in there, personally.
What do you mean by that?
I think that there's way too much controversy over Resolution Gate.
Oh, absolutely,
And people
yeah.
get too open arms about the way a trailer looks, especially when we've all been doing this now for a long enough time. The trailer, the announced trailer, the reveal trailer is never going to be 100% indicative of what the game's going to look like when it ships on disc. Like, that's just not the case, right? Because they polish it and they make it better and they make improvements as they're going through the development process. So the idea that they're being forced by like this angry, loud minority of people who are screaming online to say things like that is just sad for me. It's sad.
But don't you think I think you don't address it then. Instead, they're saying, yes, this is going to look like this on every platform you have. You know, that almost seems dishonest to me, don't you?
They're going to have to address it in a press release post-trailer launch anyway, I feel. They're going to get those questions about
Yeah,
whether
that's
this
true.
is the final footage or not. Which we all know it's not going to be the final footage. Like you said, we all know they're still working on it.
Right. I think that's why you do it. I think don't even say it. Don't even put that at the end of the trailer. Like,
But
why would they do
it's
that?
like cover
Andrea
your
said-
butts language.
Yeah, like Andrea said, there's such a big hubbub about it, so it's just kind of including that fine print so that you don't get, I guess, like just attacked for it.
I actually just see it as a way of kind of bragging. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
The main purpose of it is like, yeah, that's all that stuff that looks really good. It's not just CG. This is what the game actually looks like. Even though it never will, just because the camera angles are not gameplay camera angles.
Yeah, it's shaky cam, which I actually think kind of lends to the realism. It's like, oh, this is actually happening because the camera's shaky. I don't know.
But you know what's funny about that?
What?
I think Mortal Kombat and some other games kind of do the similar type of thing. And when we put them up on YouTube, we get that little auto notification. It's like, do you want to improve this video? It seems shaky.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen that before too.
That's very funny. I didn't know YouTube can do that.
The funny thing to me is I don't know, I can't remember exactly how this was phrased, but the Battlefront one where it says game engine footage.
Right.
Game engine footage is very different from in-game
Yeah.
footage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you can make it, you can pretty much make it look
CG
as
trailer.
good as you want in the engine of the game. Yeah.
Right. They were willing to say all footage captured in game with this, which is pretty crazy. Maybe
That
it'll look
means
this
something
good.
different.
Maybe it'll honestly
Well-
look this
Well, I'm
good.
sure the cutscenes
Depends.
will
Exactly.
look that good. Absolutely. Will it look that good, in gameplay? Who knows? Is it going to be 60 or 30? Who knows? Is it going to be somewhere in between? Like, I don't know.
Knowing Need for Speed, likely 30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Solid 10.
But we're going to get to see more at E3, so excited about that.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, 6 p.m. You were correct.
Cool. Phew. We saved ourselves a correction. Before we wrap up with Need for Speed, I guess it is that it's like why announce this now? Why not wait until E3? Actually, what's super funny is during EA's results, when they're doing their financial results, like 2 weeks ago, they said we have a Need for Speed game coming, temporary title. And turns out the title is Need for Speed.
Maybe showing it during Judges Week. I may be going to see it. And so I think they were probably worried about
A little
it
loose
leaking.
lips. I get you. Okay.
So they're like, why
that's
don't we just get out in front of it,
Cool.
put out a teaser trailer so people know it exists, and then we'll find out more details about it once E3's
Yeah.
actually here.
And
That
I-
is-
Classic pre-leak.
Control it.
I don't think it's in the trailer, but in the press release, it's like subscribe to blah 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 to see the first trailer on June 15th. During the press conference. So it's like, yeah, it's very much a tease to get people on board and know that it's coming.
And so we're rubbing our hands together. It's
Yeah.
coming.
Because they made a big deal. They made a big deal about the community, right? They're
What's it called? Speed something.
speed hunters.
Speed hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talked it up a lot. It's like, yeah, we've been talking to our community about all the stuff that they want, et cetera,
Yeah.
et cetera. Yeah.
What
I hit
happened?
my elbow on the table.
Describe the pain.
It's already receded.
Have you developed a protuberance?
No, I don't think so. They should have called it Speed Junkies or something, because they're
Adrenaline junkies.
because they have a need for speed.
You probably wanted to avoid
But
the word
speed
junkies.
is actually a drug. So yeah.
Like Nintendo has
Never
its
mind.
platform junkies.
Yeah.
I'm a platform junkie. Absolutely.
Comment.
me
Whoa.
Comment rescinded.
A weird commercial that I think I've seen 1,000 times is it's like a little girl says, I want to be a ballerina when I grow up, and the guy says, no one ever says I want to be a junkie when I grow up. Just me? I'm the only one who remembers that
I know
commercial?
that.
That was so weird.
It's funny that's targeted at a ballerina because that could be a real
Yeah.
cultural
Oh,
problem.
yeah.
No, no, I think it's good. So like, I want to be a ballerina when I grow up. Whatever.
She's like,
Do you
Mister, I
remember-
just want to dance.
Who's the girl?
Leave me alone.
Who's the lady and She's All That? That was
Rachel-
huge for a long time.
Rachel
Lake Hook.
Lake
Kiss
Hook.
me.
yeah,
Rachel
yeah,
Lake Hook.
nice.
Yeah, because she was in the one. The one
Your
I do
brain on
remember was
drugs.
like, here's your brain on drugs. So she like smashes the kitchen. I'm like, man, you're attractive if you wouldn't be on so many drugs.
She be doing ballet.
She wasn't on drugs. You know what? We gotta move on.
We saw She's All That 19 times in theater because there was nothing better to do.
I'm positive.
In my hometown.
I'm positive there were. Big story, big hire this week. Mass Effect's Casey Hudson. He was a creative director of the Mass Effect games, and he's joined Microsoft as a creative director. That's pretty crazy.
I'm not surprised.
Wait, what?
Did anyone else feel like they were getting Groundhog Day with this?
No, what are you talking about?
Because he left BioWare like last summer, right?
Yeah, in August, yeah.
And then in the fall, he made this tweet where he tweeted a picture of the Oculus and was like, "It begins," and everyone started flipping out.
Mm-hmm.
And then Oculus released a statement like being like, "We don't know what he's talking about." No, not that, but they were like, "We don't have any comment."
Sure.
And so then I feel like people were really hyped, thinking, "Is Casey Hudson developing something with Oculus, a Mass Effect style game?"
Yeah.
But then we didn't hear anything again. And then when they announced this partnership with him, or him going on as like complete creative director on HoloLens and their VR tech, I was like, didn't we already do this? Like, didn't this happen? Am I going crazy? So then I had to look it up and see, oh no, this happened with the
He
Oculus.
pre-leaked it.
No, but it's not Oculus.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
It's
but,
HoloLens.
But I wonder what he meant with the Oculus tweet.
Well, it's very possible that at the time he was talking to Oculus, or he was, excited about working in VR in general. Or it's also possible that Oculus and Microsoft are going to be working together, because HoloLens is not virtual reality. It's more augmented reality, right?
Yeah.
So it's a different system, and you have to have a PC to run Oculus, and guess what? PCs run Windows. So it's like, it makes sense to me putting all the dots together, because we look at what Phil Spencer was talking about at GDC, really having this cross connectivity between all of Microsoft's platforms and devices, being able to play a game on your PC and then pick it up on your Xbox and take it to your Windows phone, and having this family harmony. So I mean, why wouldn't Oculus maybe have a piece of that, of that puzzle? I don't know what that is or what that would look like, but maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
What's cool is, when the HoloLens was announced, as just like you wear this around your house and you see half the things in your real world and then holograms over that, I thought, oh, this sucks. But hiring a game developer, a game developer who has made great games onto that team, is encouraging to me. Makes me think HoloLens might be something. Does anyone else get like a heightened expectation for HoloLens?
I just want the globe in Mass Effect, like in my living room.
Right.
He can make that
HoloLens
happen
could
with
be
HoloLens.
Yeah, but you have
HoloLens
to
could be so cool. You
have
could
to
have
put
your
it on.
HUD in the room with you. That could be rad.
Wait, so you mean wear HoloLens while you're playing games?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So you could tell how long you need to eat, like when you need to eat. You got a little health meter on there, like a sim.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that as like you have it on while you're playing a game.
Augmented virtual reality?
Wait,
There's still no virtual reality to it.
Yeah.
No, because you're playing a game, which is a virtual reality. Never mind.
Okay. All right.
And then you're listening to Jamiroquai.
You get so accidentally caught up into it that you kill your best friend.
Oh, boy.
I mean, it's going to be so cool. It's going to be like Mass Effect. It's going to be awesome.
That
Took
is
me
actually
a
a
second to
weird.
realize that I might be who she's talking about.
That's actually a weird application though. Like, what if somebody like put a mask over your face?
Someone should make a movie where you kill someone while you are in virtual reality, and then it goes
they will.
It goes to a court, and the court has to decide whether you actually committed
It's
that
called
murder.
Ender's Game.
We find Casey
you.
Hudson
Spoiler
guilty.
alert.
Yeah.
That's not Ender's Game. Ender's Game was a simulation.
But what do we
Yeah.
think what do we think he can do? So he's not just in charge of HoloLens. He's also will be a creative focus for Xbox and Windows gaming. Do you think it's cool that to have this person, who is making Mass Effect, as like on a publisher level, overseeing games? That's cool, right? That's a good hire.
I think it's definitely a good hire for Xbox. I'm sad that he left BioWare, because I'm a huge Mass Effect fan and I love the work that he did on that franchise. But I think that he's going to continue to do great things, and I also love Xbox, so hopefully they can, make some kind of sci-fi franchise together. Because Microsoft doesn't already have a couple of those. Wait, uh-oh.
Yeah, well, is Gears sci-fi? Gears is
Yes, it is. It has aliens.
Yeah.
Do you think Halo 6 could incorporate HoloLens technology?
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe.
it will.
They'll do Halo
It will.
something.
Yeah. It's like you have to incorporate it. You know what I mean? It's like when Sony was doing 3D, like Uncharted 3 had to be 3D just because that's the technology they're pushing. I bet it will.
Like getting a digital, like, Cortana. Yeah. That could be cool.
Dude,
I knew he was going to say something.
That's totally what they're going to do. She'll, show up on your table or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, how many bullets you have will be floating in a room. It'll be cool.
Okay, so I was actually way down on HoloLens before this day.
I'm still not that excited about. But we'll
Why
see.
not?
We'll see.
What are you still not excited about?
No, it's just a weirdo thing to me.
What makes it a weirdo thing?
Because it's, I don't know. We've seen like the kind of more primitive versions of AR stuff with when the 3DS first launched, and they kind of abandoned that, and then Sony's had the invisible things going forever on their portables. I don't know. It's still hard for me to see what is going to be substantively grabbing me, and not just be like a novelty of oh, look, that cool thing's in the room, and iPad was probably the best one of those so far, but it still feels like something that would kind of get old.
I guess the challenge is, yeah, it's in the room with you. Why does it matter that it's in the room with you?
Yeah.
Because it's cool.
Because it's cool.
I mean, this is a gimmick. It's not important. It won't be a game changer. It's not going to do anything that matters. It'll just be a cool thing that 3 games use and then you throw away.
I don't think Casey Hudson would join the team if it was
No.
going to be a gimmick, is the thing.
No,
Yeah.
all of these are a gimmick.
Oh.
I think it's premature. I think we haven't seen enough of what HoloLens
Yeah.
can do. I really
Yeah.
hope that they maybe do some kind of onstage demo with HoloLens at E3. I don't know if that's in the cards because they have been very heavily game focused instead of like hardware focused. But I want to believe that he's going to do something really exciting because I think that his work so far has been really exciting and really great. But yeah, I was a little bummed that he was specifically working on HoloLens and not like
a game.
not
Not a
like
huge
leading
new
a
game.
studio. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Do you think it'll probably be integrated with Kinect?
No.
No.
Do you think they'll
I
abandon
think
Kinect and
Microsoft
to
is
be.
letting Kinect die on the vine. I really
Yeah.
do. Like, I think
Well-
it's been like, I mean, once they've taken it out of the box, it's done.
Won't the HoloLens need the Kinect to look at the room, though, to see where to put things?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't think
Theoretically,
so.
it would have to have a camera of some kind, or like a laser to scan the room.
But they show the people walking throughout their entire living rooms in like the video demos. Do you know? So the Kinect can't watch you everywhere.
It's
And the
more like
glasses
Google
have to
Glass
have-
in that way, right?
Yeah.
It's got to have some way. I mean, if it is simulating putting something on a table or whatever, it's going to have to know where those edges are.
It could
I mean,
have
I
a-
guess it could have a little camera.
It could have a different sensor accessory or something that works with it besides Kinect.
Yeah.
Oh god, what if it needs Kinect? Because it does a room scan.
Because
oh,
the
gosh.
HTC View has those 2 like pylons, right? That
Yeah.
sense the whole room.
Uh-huh. So that probably uses
knows?
Kinect. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't.
It's
use
okay. I have a Kinect. I don't mind.
Ooh.
Get it back out of the
gaming
drawer.
elite.
Yeah.
I use the voice search on that all the time. It still never gets old how cool the voice search works.
So explain to us how that works.
Using
The voice search.
So
Yeah.
so you have your Xbox on, and then you can just say like Xbox Bing The Walking Dead, and it'll pull up The Walking Dead, and then it'll show you all the different things that you have for like, you know, watching the TV show or playing the game, you know, which ones you want. It's great if you're looking for a movie. You can just Bing the movie and then it'll show you all the different options to where you can watch it, whether you can watch it for free on Netflix or you can buy it with Xbox Video or rent it on like Vudu or whatever.
That is cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's so easy. Like that's the only thing I use Kinect for though.
Xbox On has never worked for me.
Never worked for me either.
But once my brother-in-law was on speakerphone and he was controlling the Xbox One.
Because
with
it
voice
recognizes
commands.
male voices better than female
Yeah.
voices.
Is that true?
Yeah, because John told me that because he was integral in the development of both Dance Central and Fantasia, which are Kinect games. And he said through all the development process at Harmonix, like it was always recognizing male voices. And so if he'll hear me like a couple rooms away, like trying to get the Xbox to work, he'll just come out and do it, and it works instantly. And I'm like,
Wow.
I get all mad about it.
So did they have to like push their like focus, their test focus on like female voices when they were developing it?
I don't know. It'd be a great question to
QA?
ask him. Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting.
Well, ask
I didn't know
Casey.
that. Yeah.
Casey, what's going on with the female voices?
Get him on the horn.
So we have a semi-announcement. See, I don't even know. I put it in parentheses on our slide. I don't even know if it counts as an announcement. Bloodborne expansions are coming, as announced by...
Shocking no one.
yeah, exactly. President of Worldwide Studios, Shuhei Yoshida, he tweeted out... let me read the tweet. Oops, I didn't print the tweet. So he just said, yes, it's coming. Bloodborne expansions are coming. We'll talk more about it at E3.
No, he said later this year. He didn't actually name drop E3.
I think he said E3.
Oh boy.
Maybe
Okay.
more news about them
I'm
is coming at
checking.
I
E3.
can
All right,
it out.
Ian's checking it. Ian's on
Yeah,
it.
I got the impression that it may not actually be at E3.
It's going to be at E3, bro.
I think that would be a mistake for them to not talk about expansions for their.
It says, so I've been asked by many people if we are making DLC for Bloodborne. I
Okay.
can say an expansion is coming. More info later this year.
Oh, yeah.
Big smiley face.
Later this year.
But that could be E3.
That's E3. Like you were just saying, it would be a mistake not to talk
yeah,
about it.
I mean, Bloodborne is definitively the best PlayStation 4 exclusive game that exists.
Yeah.
Like, there is no question about that. It would be stupid of them to not talk about their highest rated, best reviewed, best received game for their platform at their press conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can just say
That's how I feel
best
about it.
game
It's their best game. It is. It is
of all time.
It's not the best game of all time.
It probably
Yeah. It's
not.
is the best game of all time, Andrea.
I like that. Ian,
Thank
who gets
you,
so close to-
molester.
Yeah. Whoa.
Only Bloodborne.
On top of that, though, and how it would be ridiculous not to talk about at E3, is it weird that like you announced your Bloodborne expansion as a tweet from our beloved Shuhei?
I just think it's not. It wasn't a question of would they. It was a question of when they.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not unusual. It would be weird if they made a big announcement and said we're making Bloodborne DLC, and we'd be like, okay.
You're right.
And
Yeah,
he's-
this is almost like the right scale.
Yeah, and he's very social media savvy. I mean, so much so that his character inside Super Time Force Ultra, his weapon is tweeting.
Right, just shooting
So,
tweets.
I mean, I think having
Yeah.
him make the announcement via a tweet makes sense.
Plus, once you've platinumed Bloodborne, you can kind of just do whatever you want, and no one gets mad at you.
What do you mean by that?
He can just do whatever he wants now. He's a better class of person.
Oh, it could be because he has. Yeah, we should mention that Shuhei platinumed Bloodborne.
Well, he also got to start ahead of everybody else,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah, he platinumed it pretty fast. But he was tweeting about the defiled chalice. He was like, I'm having so much trouble with this defiled chalice. It's hard.
No other president of any part of any other company has a platinum in Bloodborne.
True.
I'm
That's
sure.
like that
probably
is
true.
that
Are
is
you sure? I
crazy
feel a
to me.
correction coming on that.
Well, I mean,
Please correct me.
Miyazaki might.
Yeah,
Someone-
please correct me. If
Someone
you-
at From might.
a president of From? No, like
He
like,
made the game. He's the president
Yeah.
of From.
I don't think he's a I think he's an executive. No, you're
No,
right.
he is the
Miyazaki is
president
president.
of
I forgot
From.
about that. Yeah,
That's why it's the best company.
I bet not even he has the platinum. If you can
Yeah,
correct
who
me on this
knows?
one, please do. I'd be happy to correct myself. No other presidents of any other game companies have platinum Bloodborne. Period. I'd be so stoked to see who
You
did
know,
it.
there are a lot of small companies out there that have
Yeah.
presidents.
Yeah.
Not even they have the platinum.
What if they made Shuei like a special copy?
Actually, wait.
They didn't know.
so he
wait.
didn't feel bad.
I can actually prove you wrong right now.
Okay,
I'm a co-president of Seedlings Show LLC, and I have a platinum.
that's not a game company.
I'm just saying, it's a company.
It's not a game.
you
I did
said
say,
company.
I
He,
said
no,
game
he
company.
said game
Oh, you
company.
said
He
game
did,
company?
yeah.
Yeah,
Damn.
that's cool. You have an LLC, Ian.
It's actually, I think it's an S corp now. We changed it to an S corp.
It's for taxes.
You know, it's for stuff. We had to do it.
Oh, that stuff is so weird. Man, Shuhei's the coolest.
Shuhei is the coolest.
He's such a cool guy.
He's the coolest.
He just like let me sing Aerosmith songs into his face and like was cool with that. Maybe he wasn't cool. He hasn't talked to me since. Like that was it.
He's like, and not doing that
Now
again.
he talks to Blood a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, just now and then, Bloodborne stuff.
Blood plays it off casually.
I remember the first time, or the only time, he retweeted me. And I
Oh.
like almost peed my pants. I was like, oh my god, Shuhei retweeted me.
Do you remember what the tweet was?
Yes. So I finally discovered that there are now bunches of custom themes that you can buy in the PlayStation Store. And so I was browsing them one night when I was, playing games at like 3 a.m. like I shouldn't have been. And I found this laser cat theme.
Yes.
That has, and he's wearing like the typical like nerd Ray-Ban glasses, and he's got lasers coming out of his eye, and he tilts his head like this, and there's like rainbows spewing in the background, and it's got this crazy electronic song, and I like freaked out, and I was like, so I tweeted about it, and I had a PS4 share screen cap of what it looked like, and he retweeted me.
Oh,
That's awesome.
When,
pretty
when
awesome.
he
I did pay
tweeted-
$3.50 for that theme,
Worth
which
it.
Money
I
well
don't
spent.
regret at all.
When he tweeted about the Bloodborne musical that we did, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
watched your weird musical.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty weird. He said it blew his mind.
Yeah.
And I was like, ah.
Yeah. It sounded like he watched it multiple times as well.
Yeah, he tweeted about it a couple of times.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, we should move on. It is now time for, well, you're the one who started this conversation. This week, I asked on Twitter for like more suggestions. We got a lot. We can't do them all, but we'll get to as many as I can. Here's one I think is really interesting. This is from at DMax3901. Oh, I was playing Mario Kart with DMax. Pick a moment from a game that has yet to be surpassed? It could be a vista, it could be a plot reveal, or it could be a debut trailer or a jump scare. What is a moment from a game that is yet to be surpassed?
It's not a moment from a game, but it's a reveal trailer. The original Dead Island trailer, the cinematic one that ended up being nothing like what the actual game was, that for me was a trailer that
Has yet to be surpassed.
that has yet to be surpassed. But I think now companies aren't trying to make trailers like that because you get so much flack if you make a super cinematic trailer and then your game resembles nothing.
Which is
like
sad because that trailer won hundreds of awards, not just in the video game sphere, but in advertising, like critics awards too. Like it won at all the awards.
I think people are still doing those sort of trailers. They're just being a little more upfront about.
Maybe not as like obtuse to what the actual game
I
is.
think the problem with Dead Island was nobody knew what the game was at the time.
Oh, nobody
Yeah.
knew
Yeah.
from that trailer, but it was such a good trailer.
Yeah, but like the Witcher trailer that they did last week, the cinematic. I mean, that was very much along the same lines. That it was.
I would say it's way different lines, Blood.
Well, it wasn't, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't. The problem with Dead Islands is that they were doing something that really had almost no relation to the game other than there were zombies in it.
Which game did the Mad World trailer? Was that Gears of War?
That's Gears of
Yeah.
War 1. Yeah.
That was
Really
after
good.
Dead Island.
Brandon
right?
does not like that
way,
trailer.
way before.
Oh, it was before.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'd call them vibe trailers. I think they're trailers that are communicating vibe above all else.
Yeah, and I guess at the time we didn't realize that. We thought this is going to be a game where we are a family escaping from a zombified island.
Yeah.
And we weren't really sure what that gameplay was going to look like. But now I don't know that you necessarily can do those vibe trailers unless it's really been established what your game is about.
Yeah.
Like The Witcher, we knew.
The
and they
weird
can
thing with
do
the
a
Dead
trailer
Island
like
one
that.
is, aren't those games kind of silly? Like,
Yeah.
aren't they
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
funny? All their first trailers are so serious and
They're
sad.
they're not comedic in the way that like Dead Rising
No.
is. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they have a little bit of that, but not much.
Right. I think they do take themselves seriously, but to me they're just like, it's like, what is that rapper song, the Voodoo one? It's like, who do you voodoo? It's like, I think of that whenever I think of Dead Island. It's just like, you're stupid. You're a stupid game. And it kind of is. It's just like, it's not aspiring to everything I think that initial trailer was. And that's what, yeah, I think it was kind of misleading. It's selling a different vibe than you get out of the game.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think that we'll get many launch trailers like that
Yeah,
anymore.
it was yet to be surpassed. Blood, what do you got for this yet to be surpassed moment?
Okay. I'm gonna go with Three Dog from Fallout 3, of all things.
Explain.
He's a radio announcer, and then like when you have the radio on and you're just listening to like old timey songs in Fallout 3, he comes on the radio and he's got this great voice, and he will very often like kind of update and his commentary will change based on the things that you do in the game. And it's like, yeah, I heard rumors about this guy over here in the wasteland, and you're doing a good job or something like that. So it was just kind of a cool thing, and it's just like everything put together with that. Like there are other games that have had responsive systems like that, and other games that have radio announcers, obviously. But it's just like he's just a cool character, and I know there's some people that don't care for him as much, but I really dug that part of that, and I don't think I actually heard much of the original like moody music in Fallout 3 because I always had the radio on.
You were digging the radio so much.
Yeah.
That's cool. Andrea, do you have a moment?
I mean, it's tough because there's so many good ones, but the one that I like immediately thought of was in Walking Dead Season 1, Telltale's Walking Dead Season 1, in the final episode where you're forced to, spoiler, if you haven't played, also it came out like 2 years ago, where you're forced as playing as Lee to...
Make a tough decision.
Sure, okay. And it's like it's a culmination of all these emotions leading up from the first 4 episodes into the finale, where it's like you're leaving Clem and I physically cried during that moment in a game, and it's been so long since any game has moved me emotionally to that level that it's like I still, even with Walking Dead Season 2, where you had to make another set of really difficult decisions, because it was the first one, and
Yeah.
there's still never yet been a game or a game before that has ever had that kind of emotional impact on me.
Some people will tell you The Last of Us did that. They
Oh
are
my
wrong.
gosh. Oh.
No, they're wrong for
They're
sure.
wrong.
The Walking
Those people
Dead-
are wrong. You had no choice.
Yeah.
I was destroyed
Yeah.
playing that
so emotional.
moment in that game.
Yeah.
We're outnumbered today. I think my moment is my favorite things are switcheroos. I like so I love PT and I love Metal Gear Solid 2. Metal Gear Solid 2 I thought could never happen again. This switcheroo of like that main character, you're not him. That's hilarious to me. I don't think that could happen today. But then PT happened, and I didn't think PT could possibly happen in today, where everything, all spoilers, things are leaked. Yeah, and it turns out it couldn't. Yeah, PT can't happen still.
So would you consider just kind of like a plot twist a switcheroo? Like, would you consider Gone Home doing that kind of switcheroo?
No, because
not to that extent.
Because what was happened is this is promised as this thing, and it's
Yeah.
not that thing at all.
Okay.
That's what's crazy to me. Like, this thing is promised, and like, no, it's not that.
It's not just a plot device.
What about the
Right.
upside down castle in Symphony of the Night?
It's just the
That's-
same castle again,
yeah.
man. It's just like it's.
I have one.
Okay, I'm happy you have one. What do you got?
I like in games, and I know you disagree with the BioShock one of this, but I think Shadow of the Colossus is better anyway. But one
Nice.
of my favorite things in games is when you do a thing that you think you're doing for one reason, and it turns out that you're just doing the wrong thing. Like, I love it when video games make you feel bad for doing things, and I don't think anyone has done it better than Shadow of the Colossus. I tried to play it again when it came out in HD, and I couldn't do it. I felt too bad.
Well, I wouldn't say it did it better than Shadow, but I'd say you have some moments to look forward to in Witcher 3. If you keep going at
Oh
it.
boy, here he goes again. Here he goes
I'm so
again.
excited.
So we have another question. This is from Kelso, who is at Humblest Gamer. Do you think this spiritual successor phenomenon will keep growing as old school developers leave this AAA and mobile market? Of course, referring to Yooka-Laylee and Bloodstained. Do you think that will keep going? Is there room for more?
I think as long as they keep getting funded, there will be room for more. But we're seeing a lot of projects on Kickstarter go so far beyond their original ask or their original scope that they're in danger of never being published, right? So that's a very real problem that we haven't really seen anybody successfully overcome yet. I mean, look at Broken Age. I mean, they're just releasing that, but do you think that they made good on their original promise? Is that game going to be profitable at all? Like, I think that's the big risk with taking something old and trying to reboot it without the backing of a major publisher who's willing to take that financial risk. So I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be widespread because I think people who've been in the industry a really long time know what that risk is, and not many of them are willing to take it.
So that's really interesting, Andrea, because I already assumed Broken Age was profitable, and I probably.
I
just
don't
'cause I'm
know.
like-
I don't have the numbers.
Uh-huh.
I'm just using my assessment of looking at the public information.
Yeah.
I haven't asked Tim Schafer if that game is profitable.
Right.
But knowing how much money they spent on it and how many copies that theoretically they've sold, I have a hard time believing that they've turned a profit. They've probably broke even,
Right.
But was that game a crazy success?
It certainly wasn't a crazy success.
Yeah.
I think we can all accept that.
Yeah, I think it feels like the CRPGs have been the most successful ones, the Divinity and Wasteland, and it sounds like they're going to be doing a Bard's Tale sequel now. So it's interesting. It's interesting how it kind of varies. Like some of them actually do seem to do pretty well, and it wasn't a sequel to anything, but like FTL, kind of caught on. There's the Kickstarter wave, but then there were a lot of people that weren't aware of it being on Kickstarter.
But that was like an original idea,
Yeah.
right? And so I think look at a game like King's Quest. Do you think that that reboot is going to have the same amount of success the first game had? I mean, I think we all have nostalgia for some of those old things. I mean, I was just talking about it on Ladies of the Lobby, how I want Paperboy to come back.
Yeah.
I would buy that game. But
Would you kickstart it?
how many people in this new generation of gamers, people that are maybe 13 to 25, that weren't alive when those games originally came out, care about these IPs? I mean, they have been spoiled with so many amazing new franchises that why would they want to go back?
Yeah, I think that as older developers retire too, or as they just kind of maybe don't feel like they have it in them for another huge game, they maybe won't be turning to these spiritual successors. However, that doesn't mean that people, 30 and younger that are new developers won't make their own indie title that they consider like a sister game to a game like
Right, like Axiom Verge.
like Salt and Sanctuary that we saw at PSX is a huge Dark Souls Castlevania inspired platformer. I think it's just a lot of younger indie developers will be leading the charge with their own perspective and spiritual successors to the games that they loved. Maybe not necessarily the developers that made them. Though I do think it is something that these developers have as an option now, which they didn't have before. Like there were games that they just couldn't make because when they relied heavily on, AAA studios and publishers to make their games, it was just kind of, well, if my game doesn't get greenlit, I'm not going to make it at all. But now at least they have the avenue and the option.
Well, I mean, and when you're talking about a spiritual successor versus like inspired by like a Metroidvania style, you have the lore on your shoulders as well, right? So you have the legacy of what the original idea was to make good on. So you look at something like Mighty Number 9 and go, it's all on, Inufune's shoulders to make it as good as Mega Man. And from what we've seen, it looks like it is, but I think that also is another...
We'll have that fight later.
We'll have a fight later. Obviously, it's never going to be as good as the original, but fight later. So that's like, to me, like a big wild card into this whole idea of kickstarting or developing something from something that was successful at one point. Is like, can you make good? Can you make it better? And if you can't make it better, why are you even attempting?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
But no, that's actually what.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's actually what I thought. But that was actually when Mighty Number 9 was announced. It actually was what weirded me out about it. Because it's like, all right, Inafune's out on his own. He can do whatever he wants. He's gonna make another Mega. They've made like 20, 30 Mega Man games. Why are you gonna do that again? But
like to me, like talking about Need for Speed and Mirror's Edge, like even the AAA companies are like kind of getting in the spiritual successor like kind of mode. It's weird.
My question is, at what point does it go from spiritual successor to copyright infringement? Because just because it was your game you developed doesn't mean you own the rights.
Mighty Number 9 gets close.
It's close, and it's like
that guy. Oh, what was the game? It was I think it was one of those top-down like airplane
it was Tempest.
shooters.
We were talking about Tempest a lot. Yeah.
He got sued.
He got
because it may have been your baby and your brainchild, but you don't own the rights to it. And because you want to revisit that world or something like it doesn't necessarily mean that you can.
Well, I would think or hope at least that they would have that conversation with the IP holder and be like, can I get your blessing to make this thing? Since you won't fund it, can I go ask the fans to fund it, and will you support us? But
Tempest didn't he ask and they said no?
Atari gave him a hard no. Yeah.
He went away. Oh, if they gave him a no and he went forward anyway, like that's on him.
And
right?
I do like the idea of there being more partnerships between publishers and developers, where if a developer can go out and kickstart a certain amount of money, the publisher might say, okay, we'll get on board once you raise $500,000, then we'll come on and we'll partner with you.
Yeah.
I do like that kind of idea and trend.
Well, that kind of looks like what's happening with Bloodstain, right?
Yeah.
So they were like, once we hit this benchmark, then we have this secret publisher waiting in the wings
I wonder who.
to come in and help us out.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of openly said he needs $5 million. He's like, I'm not going to get that on Kickstarter. I know it, but we'll get a momentum on Kickstarter, and I think that's the most important thing. So that's cool. I'm glad we got impassioned about that. That was a good subject. So thank you big time for that one. Let's do one more real quick. This is just, I think, is a very specific and interesting question. This is from @AJ Clayton. Which PS1 made the longest lasting impact on game design? A PlayStation 1 game making an impact on game design.
I'm going to say Gran Turismo. Just
cool.
Because I feel like it set a new bar for racing games.
Yeah.
And there was no game before. I think you might know a more obscure racing game than I would, but that before Gran Turismo on the PS1 really established like the career, like simulator mode where you are competing and you're actively like making money to try to bolster your career. Yeah, I don't know if there was
like
another
Ridge Racer up till then.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a racing game that did that, and just the way that it established like we have over 100 tracks and the music with it, I think that it set the bar for like racing games to come.
That's a fantastic answer.
It's not the sexiest answer. It's not the coolest answer.
But I think it's the right. It seemed right now, at least I got to say, you probably have the best answer of the panel. But let's see what Blood has.
I was gonna say Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, has that really affected game design?
Yeah, I mean the integration of like all the cutscenes and dialogue and everything. Like making games actually become more cinematic. I mean,
sure.
Final Fantasy VII was kind of there in a way, but Metal Gear was a lot more tightly integrated because you didn't have movie scenes playing. It was all
in game,
in engine.
Yeah.
And then also just like in terms of the mechanics, even though a lot of those carried over from the earlier games, it kind of, stealth games use a lot of that same stuff that they laid the groundwork for.
That's absolutely, you're right. The stealth became a genre, I feel like. Even though there was Metal Gear before this, you're right, it kind of did affect games. Every game has a stealth level.
Yeah, even Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, exactly. Andrea, do you have a PS1 game that had the most impact on game design?
I didn't play a lot of PS1 games. I was very much obsessed with my N64 still at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can't even give you a definitive answer.
That's why I went Gran Turismo, because I'm like, I don't really know PlayStation 1 that well either.
Parappa the Rappa?
Nobody raps like that rap.
Well, I mean, he arguably, that game is the genesis of the music and rhythm genre in Western development, right? Like, a lot of people have said that, but I mean,
absolutely. A cursor going by to the beat of the music, and you hit it as you go by. Like, that wasn't existing at that point.
Yeah, it was like the precursor to frequency, right? Which then led to amplitude, and then led to
did
Guitar
DDR,
Hero.
Sorry?
When did DDR and all that stuff?
Shoot,
I feel like that was
DDR might have been first in arcade. Yeah.
Before Parappa. I don't think so.
been.
I don't think so, dudes.
I think like Parappa was what put it in our consciousness.
Well,
Sure.
also
like,
it's influential in the sense that it brought it to the console generation, right? Because there was a very big shift from arcades to consoles in the 90s, right? Like, arcades essentially died by the early 2000s because consoles had taken over. So, I mean, I would say just on that alone, like, it deserves a nod.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely, and it's one of my favorite games.
I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Silent Hill and Resident Evil.
Cool. Why are you mentioning those?
Well, I mean, Resident Evil came out first, I think, and it started the whole survival horror thing. And then I think Silent Hill came out, and it was like, nah, here's how you do it.
Here's how you do it.
Also, Tomb Raider, I don't know,
Tomb Raider's good.
in a weird way. And female protagonist too wasn't a huge thing back then, really.
Right.
Still isn't.
Yeah,
Right.
still isn't.
Yeah, so you're right. I mean, that's really
Edge.
good because we are still playing a ton of third-person
Yeah.
games,
And
action
I
games.
think that was like one of the first ones that kind of did it right, besides like, I don't know, Mario 64.
Yeah.
But
It's funny when you think about it though, because Parappa is such a good response. Now I'm like thinking about it more because we would never think like that game could have that kind of impact. Like, it's Parappa the Rapper. We're like,
Oh, like when you actually look at like the branches.
because it probably is more impactful than a game like Tomb Raider.
It's hard to say.
I don't know.
I freaking
Let
love
us know.
because it didn't spawn
I'm
like
just thinking-
direct copycats like some of the other games did, but yeah, it definitely probably influenced a lot of things.
Yeah, like the Wii exists because of Parappa
Yeah.
Rapper.
Yeah.
Great answers, everybody. Those were actually
Such a
really great
left
answers.
field.
It is time for bets. Here's our bet this week. This is the most complicated bet I think I've ever done on the show. Here's what's happening. Ultra Street Fighter 4 for PlayStation 4 launches next week. In this game, what we're going to do, we're going to go into arcade mode on the hardest difficulty, and we're going to set it to 1 round wins. We will select a random character. Once the match starts, we will not press any buttons. How long will the match last?
Are we gonna have a roll-in next week?
I think so. I want to record it. I want to record it and like shouting at it like a horse
Damn
race.
you, Kyle
Throwing
Bossman!
money
Yeah.
at the screen.
Can we do that, Ian? Can we like play it in the middle
Yes.
of the? Okay. So the
What
audio.
we should do is just have it ahead of time, and I'll just do it in the TriCaster.
Cool. All
Because
right, we'll
it's
do that.
easier for me later.
I think the audio will be good even for the podcast. We'll
Yeah.
see. But Andrea, it's your turn actually to the super seat to reveal
Okay.
your bet first.
I'm saying 60 seconds.
Mm.
I think 60 seconds is a good time because I think depending on which character the AI is playing as,
Yeah.
it'll take them a little bit to like actually like engage.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think there'll be like a couple pauses here and there.
Because it's still
I
our
don't
first fight.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think it'll be like nonstop action from the AI the whole time.
Yeah.
So
Blood, what's your bet?
I'm going on a much lower end. I'm going 14 seconds.
That's an intense match, Blood. I'll be excited if it's 14. Elise, what is your bet?
I was kind of thinking like Andrea was thinking. I said 45 because I feel like there is going to be that downtime where the AI just backs off and
What's
isn't
the
quite sure
match
what to do.
length?
The match maximum length is I think 90 seconds.
Okay, yeah, 90.
And then my bet is 27 seconds. Okay, let me lock those in. I'm so excited to see the results of this bet. I think it's gonna be really fun. Let's talk about last week's bet. Last week's bet was about The Witcher 3, which came out this week. The current word count of the Siri wiki page on the Witcher Wikipedia, Wikia, thank you, was 2,002 words. What would the word count be at this time, at this point? How would that evolve? Here's how the bets went down. I bet 2,804. Huber in the super seat bet 2,200. Daniel Bloodworth bet 4,004. He doubled it. And Jones bet 2,600. Andrea, how do you like Huber's bet?
I mean, it's so hard to know. I mean, I don't think, I frankly think people are too busy playing to stop and look at a Wikia. I don't think it's probably changed that much.
I'll tell you, Andrea, that was Huber's logic, and that was completely correct. There are 0 more words added to that page.
Oh, wow.
It is still at 2002.
Yeah, Huber.
No one added anything.
Great minds.
I'm
think
glad you
alike.
didn't ask me, because I would have been like, we're going to learn so much new stuff about Terry. Watch that page blow up.
Well, that was my logic, because I played through the game, and all the stuff that happens, I figured somebody would just write it all down.
Yeah.
No, they're too busy playing.
They haven't stopped. It's 200 hours of gameplay.
Oh my gosh, no words were added. Not a single word.
Well,
oh
a lot
my
is
gosh.
known about her already through the books, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've played the game. Do they substantially add a lot of more information that you didn't already know about? I mean, without being spoilery?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, like, I figure, like, someone would even just, like, copy the character bio, because there is a lot that
You mean like
happens
word for word
with
type
her-
what you get on screen?
Quotes and
within
stuff.
within the game, there's a lot that happens. So, yeah, even though there's not a whole lot that is revealed that you wouldn't know about her backstory or her abilities, if you've read everything, there's still a lot that happens within the context of the game.
Yeah.
Probably good though, right? So no spoilers
No
on the
spoilers.
Wikia.
Yeah, don't worry about spoilers on the Wikia page. So that now brings a super seat to 8 points. Super seat is in the lead, trumping a Bloodworth at 7. Jones has 2 points.
Jones has 2 points.
Yeah, I have 4. He's so sour about it too. You know it really affects him. He's so bummed about those 2 points.
Well, tell him to
Hopefully you
make
got
better
him.
bets.
He
That's
tries.
right, I said it, Jones.
That's the thing. He's been trying to make better bets.
Maybe if you weren't at Judges Week.
Yeah. Just sipping tea with the elites. So Andrea, not only did you get a point, you've won 2 other things. You get to promote any video you want, and you also get to sign us off.
Okay, well, I'm going to go over that and promote 2 things because I
don't
have
know
to.
if we can allow that.
We have to promote our Operation Supply Drop page and thank everybody
Okay.
who joined the charity stream last weekend. We raised a bunch of money, over $2,000. Our team goal, however, is $5,000, and I know we can get there. We have until sometime I think it's June 30th to hit our final goal, and I'm going to be streaming again this weekend. But go to our page, please, fundraise.operationsupply.drop.org. Actually, you can just go /Elise Willems. Go to her page. You can donate on her page or my page or Huber's
I
page.
didn't know if we were supposed to make individual pages.
I
for
did it
that.
because you did it.
We
I
did,
because-
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay, okay.
Yeah, so all of our
Okay.
pages go, all of the money goes
Okay.
under Team GameTrailers.
Oh, okay.
So if you haven't yet, please donate if you can. They do really great work giving video game care packages to our troops. So thank you again to everybody who showed up on the stream last weekend. Of course, I can't leave without promoting Elise's great new series that I'm on, Ladies in the Lobby. Episode 2 went up this week. If you haven't watched it yet, we talk about some really fun stuff.
Paperboy.
Yeah.
So what is episode 2 about?
Oh, episode 2 went up this week, and it was about earliest gaming memories, classic games. Next week, we're talking Xbox versus PS4
Whoa.
and Wii U. I thought you were going to promote bonus round, because there's an E3 bonus round coming up, and check the footage. Looks hot.
It is. Self-preservation. Promote myself first.
Oh, no,
I'm not
no.
actually on the bonus round episode, but our
oh,
first,
okay.
yes, our E3 preview begins
Yeah.
with PlayStation this Sunday. We'll have, like we do every year, E3 previews of Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, and then the best of the rest.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff to talk about.
Who's
this
on
year.
the panel?
So the panel is, of course, Jeff, and it's Andy McNamara from the editor-in-chief of Game Informer, Sophia Tong, the global editor-in-chief at Future US for Games Radar, and it's Ben Howard, VP over at CBS Interactive.
Oh.
CBS Interactive.
Yes.
Okay.
Go
Cool.
watch Ladies in the Lobby first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andrea.
Andrea, you're supposed to be selfish when you win these. Like, that's
Yeah.
part of it. You're supposed
Yeah.
to promote your own thing.
Right. Well, I mean, the most important thing to promote is Operation Supply Drop.
Obviously.
So
Okay.
please donate to our page.
And
And
then
then-
Ladies in the Lobby.
And then you can check out Ladies in the Lobby. And then, of course, you can sign us off.
Yes. Oh, well, thank you so much for for watching GT Time or listening to GT Time. And follow me at Andrea Renee, being selfish.
Great.
Yeah.
I love.